Hey, Mayor, you ready for the State of the City?
And you know I am.
Well, hey, remember, we really want to highlight the enhancements we've made to transportation and mobility this year.
Absolutely.
He's right, mobility is a top priority. We're going to continue working on Adler Road, which includes drainage, street, and utility work.
So these projects are one of our broader multi-year street and drainage program for the entire city.
Of course, the work is continuing on the Adler Road culverts as we speak.
Well, that's right, Mr. Carroll. We actually are investing 18% in this year's budget to street maintenance.
Yeah, and all of this is increasing our connectivity throughout our wonderful city. Hey, Brett.
Mayor, speaking of connections, you must talk about our parks investments we're making. Nothing brings the community together like our parks and green spaces.
Absolutely, Brett. One of our largest investments is the new Northside Community Park.
Yes, the park's going to include an all-abilities playground, splash pad, 2 covered basketball courts, 12 pickleball courts, a dog park, 2 multi-use athletic fields, an ADA trail, and so much more.
And we got a $750,000 grant from the Texas Parks and Wildlife for our green spaces.
Yeah, our goal with this park is to create a regional destination for recreation, social gathering, and health. We've also completed other elements of the 2022 bond election.
That's great, Lizette. That's some awesome work that will enhance the city's quality of life tremendously.
Hey, Mayor.
Hey, Dr. Mack.
Good seeing you here today. Been checking on some utility activities. Really excited about all these improvements we're doing.
You're right, Dr. Mack. The utilities are the lifeblood of our community, and we are making some bold investments.
So you know, about 88 million of the overall city budget this year is in utilities expenditure. You know, a lot of our expenses this year also include capital expenditures in both water treatment, wastewater treatment, design and construction of gas projects, reclaimed water pumping and tanks.
That's all important for our resiliency, for our dependability of services, for environmental stewardship, and for growth to maintain services for the public.
Now, utilities fund themselves.
See ya. Wow, man, everyone's making sure we hit all the points today. Hey, Kyle.
Hey, Mayor, how are you?
I'm good, buddy.
Hey, I know I'm the new guy, but I've heard a lot of interest about the fire station and the new things coming to the library.
Yeah, all these initiatives are about capacity outreach and serving our community in different ways.
That's right. We're excited about Fire Station number 2. It's going to be on the eastern part of our service area. The station will do more than just fire department operations. It will include a community meeting space, serve as a backup emergency operations center, and an extension of our library services to the residents of that side of town.
And we are just as excited. With 170,000 visits to the library this last year, the library is always abuzz with activity. And with our new bookmobile, we're excited to expand our services to everyone.
Oh, hey, Ty. I'm just running into everybody today. How was your Safe Streets for All meeting?
It went really good. It's really cool to see everything that goes into making Boerne such a great community. Oh man, look at the time. You and I got to get to the State of the City.
Oh yeah,
together.
that's right.
You want to hop on and get a ride down there?
I appreciate it, but I think I'll take my own ride.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Ritchie and Mayor Pro Tem Wolosin.
Well, welcome everyone. We're so excited that you are here to join us this morning. We're just grateful that you are vibrant members of our community and are such great supporters of all that we do here at the City of Boerne.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you everyone for being here, and thank you Ben and Frank for inviting me to be a part of this.
Absolutely. Nobody wants to listen to just the two of us for 3 years in a row.
That's fair.
Yeah. You know? Well, speaking of that, let's get started with our leading strategies. The things that we do best here at the City of Boerne to make Boerne a wonderful community. You know, we're strategic, very strategic in the future of our community through our master plans, our citizen surveys, rolling out our 10-year master plan every year, updating it with healthy and robust conversations with the council and our elected officials and our community. Over the course of this presentation, you're going to hear how we use our core tenets and our mission play out in the work that we are doing this year.
Yeah, Mayor, I'll tell you, we talk a lot about with our executive team, our whole city organization, intention and deliberateness is fundamental to who we are in our culture. We don't just go wherever. We know where we want to go. We know what we want to achieve. And everything you just highlighted is exactly what is the foundation of that.
When I was at the beginning of our council meetings, your team members always talk about how those items tie together, and I think that's really important to your vision and our vision for the community.
Yep, absolutely.
Speaking of teams, Ty, we have an award-winning group of teams. Everybody that works for the City of Boerne is on a winning team. Our finance department, for the 37th straight year in a row, we received the certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. That's no small task, 37 years. Parks, we received the Lone Star Legacy designation, and that's one of 8 parks in the state of Texas to receive this award. Each year, nearly 236,000 patrons come by and play soccer, football, and enjoy what we have at the city parks of Boerne. And then there's our utilities, right? We wouldn't be able to turn the lights on without those guys. Safety Achievement Award from Texas Gas Association, Safety Award from the American Public Gas Association, 5 years in a row. That just speaks to the excellence and the dedication that our workers take and the pride they take in what they do.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, there's a lot of other awards that our team goes after and is getting recognized for. 300 and plus employees all believe in one core value, and that's excellence. They believe in all 5, but excellence is top of mind every day at the City Hall here in Boerne.
Speaking of the rest of those teams, we have the visitor centers, right? 2 Texas Travel Awards, including the Best Social Media. Director Larry Woods, where's Larry at? Is he in here this morning? Yeah. Stand up, Larry. He is recognized for 50 years of service in the tourism industry this year. 50 years is a long time to be serving the community. And then our legal counsel, Mick McAmey, received the 2025 Amiscus Award, just one of 55 nationwide from the Municipal Lawyers Association. Our urban design corridor program placed 2nd by the Texas State chapter of the APA. And then our Library Excellence Award. I think Natalie's here. Natalie, you here? Stand up, Natalie.
Yeah.
Right?
Congrats, Natalie. So a lot of good stuff happening at City Hall amongst all the departments. They know that we strive to be the example, not only in South Central Texas, but the whole state and even the country. And I'm really proud of our group. We recently got upgraded to a AA1 rating. This is probably, I believe, the 2nd rating increase we've had since I've been here in the last 5 years. They identified our strong financial conservative approach to how we manage our resources, the public money, public resources, just the processes we have in place, and Director Buckaloo's department and her team. I want to tell you, we actually scored really, really close to being a AAA rated city. There are several criteria, if you're not aware, there are several criteria they look at, and many of those factors we rated AAA. There's 2 or 3 that were in that AA1, and those are factors that we really don't have a lot of control over, things that the state might have control over with certain regulatory or legislative approaches, but also how we develop. We develop in a very balanced, managed approach, and we don't just allow everything to come in. But anyway, we have a very strong financial position. I'm proud of our team for embracing that, and now actually City Council too, for your support in having that same vision.
Well, I think, Ben, I know that was one of your goals when you came on, was to get our rating to where it is, so kudos to you and the management team for doing that.
We'll be there here soon, AAA. How much it costs you on a daily basis to have the excellent services that we provide in the city. Here is the latest average pricing for some of the things that we buy daily, the purchases we make in our household. In fact, last night I took my son, my 6th grader, to Raising Cane's right after a baseball game, and for a 3-finger combo and a lemonade, a medium lemonade, it was $10.60, okay? These are things we do daily without even pausing or questioning. Let me ask you, Ty, that pint of craft beer, is that about right? Josh?
Yeah, that's
$7.50?
about right, yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, so all of that right there, things we do, that's about $8.80 on average. We're making those decisions daily without even thinking about it. We provide a lot of services, but the services that are supported by property taxes, those of you that are paying taxes on your businesses, your homes, you get fire service, excellent fire service. And you saw in the video another fire station on the horizon. You got top-notch police service, animal shelter, animal care, a great library. You're seeing these events that are being put on downtown in the Hill Country Mile. Some of that's supported by hotel occupancy tax, but a lot of it's supported by our general fund as well. Excellent parks and rec services, a phenomenal trail system with the old number 9 and other connectivity options that we have. So you think about all of that, the sidewalks, the roads. What would you be willing to pay daily to have that access here in the city of Boerne with the quality of life you expect?
Probably more than 880.
You would think. I asked my wife this. I go, what would you be willing to pay? And I think, this was about 6-7 months ago. She goes, $15, $15 to $20. Well, here, I'm going to tell you, you got a deal. This year, it's $6.40 to have excellent public safety protection, to have excellent connectivity, great road conditions, and we're going to talk about how that's even gotten better over the last 5 years. So I want to thank my team for trying to deliver a top-notch service palette as efficiently as possible. Please join me in thanking these guys here at the front table.
Yeah, speaking about investing in the community that we live in and what we do, we invested in 22 bonds, and we put that implemented that last year. And here's an update, right? West Blanco, Kronsky, Parkway Street projects are all completed, right? And they were completed or on budget, right? We had new lights. If you're a parent of a student athlete, we have new lights at Northrop Park, City Park, improvements at Field 11 at Northrop Park, and we're working at new scoreboard and bleacher installations. I mean, as someone who spends a lot of weekends out at the Northrop Park and in Burning City Park, a lot of nights too, it's nice to go out there at 8:45 and pick up my daughter from soccer and know that there's lights and those kids can get out there and be looking at the soccer fields, not their cell phones, And then the design of Johns Road and School Street improvements, they're at 90% of completion already, right?
Mayor, I'll add, we have extreme demand on our park system. Our recreation services, the sports agencies associations that we partner with do a phenomenal job. We feel it. I'm just excited that we're able to add a practice field that didn't have lights, didn't have great turf, didn't have irrigation. We're adding a whole nother ball field to Northrop Park for softball and baseball, and so I'm excited about that.
Well, yeah, because we don't just serve, as the city of Boerne, we serve the entire Boerne community that's outside of the city limits. There are 70,000 plus people that call Boerne home in the 78006 zip code, and all those athletes, all those young students, they're coming into Boerne to play at Northrop Park, play soccer at Boerne City Park. With the addition of Adler Road projects and everything that we do, hats off to our streets and our Parks and Recs department, because they keep the lights on, they improve those fields each and every year, and it's just a wonderful part of our community. It's one of the things that make Boerne one of the best places to live.
Absolutely. Let's talk about mobility. Ty, you're our mobility guy on
Yeah,
council.
mobility. So talk about AMPO. For those who don't know, AMPO is the Alamo Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. Dig a little deeper into that. Essentially, the state has a bunch of money. They get that either from the federal government or state funding, and then they send that out to these metropolitan planning organizations, and then those organizations allocate that money out. So very important for large funding opportunities. So when you see AMPO, that's what that means. Since former council member Bryce Bodie left, I've been the official on AMPO for the city of Boerne in Kendall County. Hopefully once Governor Abbott appoints the Kendall County appointee, I think the judge will be on that with me, but currently I'm the member for both Boerne and Kendall County. So that's what AMPO is, the abbreviated version. So we are waiting to hear back on several AMPO-funded projects. And most important, the criteria for those is you have to have shovel-ready projects. So Jeff Carroll and his department have done a really good job of getting us to spend money on getting projects ready, so then when we go to AMPO for money, we have those projects ready. So an example is a citywide sidewalk improvement project, $2.6 million. We feel really good about getting the funding for that. We'll find out, I think, next week about that. A new bridge at Old San Antonio Road in Minger Creek, that's an $8 million project. Drainage and roadway expansion near Old San Antonio Street, Scenic Loop Road, and Cascade Caverns, $45 million. When we first looked at that about 4 years ago, that was around $22 million. So it just shows you, if you wait on these projects, it can double, it can triple, and also shows you the importance of needing state funding partners in these projects. Again, $45 million is a big number, so the importance of needing state help. And then this one I'm sure everyone will be very interested in. TxDOT has submitted a mobility enhancement plan for the intersection of Herf River and Esser Road. That is, I'm sure, everyone's favorite intersection in here. It is a very complicated intersection and a very expensive project. It is also a state intersection, so not a intersection that the city or the county can just go and fix. The state has to be involved in any fix there. I'm part of the Safe Street project. That was the #1 street in that study too. So, and pretty much any study you see, that's the #1. TxDOT knows that and is aware of that. So hopefully we get some funding for that soon. And then a pretty cool fact is there's 160 miles of lane miles within the city of Boerne. That would be the same mileage as if you were going from Boerne to San Angelo. So that's the amount of pavement that we as a city have to maintain. So it's kind of a cool way to think about it. That's a lot of pavement that we have to maintain. Adler Road, so this is within District 1, my district. I think most people know that that is a pretty important arterial road and definitely one that the city maintains. Anytime we have a Main Street road closure, that is one of the main detours around town. If you have students that go to Currington or Boerne High School and you live anywhere around the exterior part of town, you probably use Adler to get around. That was part of our bond project, was to take Adler and turn it into a three-lane road. So still two lanes with a turn lane in the middle and then some nice sidewalks and bike lanes. It's the largest mobility project in the city's history. Obviously, as I said, a critical east-west connection within the city. The culvert replacements are currently underway. That was a project we did in conjunction with the county. So definitely want to give kudos to the county for working with us to do that. That's going to help take two different drainage ways and take them out of not the 100-year floodplain, but out of the current floodplain. So it's going to make the roadways a lot safer, which is good for our first responders, obviously for citizens, so make the roads safer, make the drainage ways better. Adler was a pavement condition index of 22. If you think of pavement index, 100 would be perfect road, brand new. 22, not very good. So obviously Adler needed some work. If you've driven Adler, you probably know that too. So we're looking forward to getting one of our worst roads basically starting at 100, which will help our overall index throughout the city. And then the utility relocations and right-of-way acquisitions are our next steps. As I've learned, the right-of-way acquisitions are very complicated. Just the acquisitions for the drainage ways were very complicated. Again, I'm learning every day in my position on council, and that took a while just to do that. So you can imagine just for that whole road, that's going to be complicated. So yeah, now on to pavement condition and street maintenance. Been on council since 2020, and I know when the former mayor came on, he saw that we had a very small percentage of the budget going towards street maintenance, and he was like, we got to change that. And as you can see, we've done just that. Every year we've said we're going to spend more money to get our roads in better condition. This graph will give you a good idea of what we've done every year to do that.
And so with that, right, you can see the correlated condition of all of our roadways.
Absolutely. So this goes, that index I was talking about, right? We were in 2021, we were at a 75% overall, and since then we've gone up to an 85%. So a 10% increase is a pretty large increase in that amount of time.
So I'm excited with the amount of funding we've allocated to maintenance, and Jeff Carroll and his streets department and crews are doing a phenomenal job of getting low-hanging fruit accomplished. Then with the Adler project being done, you'll see that even spike up even more. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we want to make sure the priority is our streets are good and our water crossings are safe.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's a huge part, and that's a huge investment for our city.
Our #1 job on council is obviously the safety and security of our citizens. So that's #1 always, and low water crossings and is a big part of streets as well.
Mayor Pro Tem, I want to thank you for representing the city at AMPO and all the other little committee meetings you go to. You have monthly obligations apart from your city council meetings, and we really much appreciate them. Let's talk about utilities. Those are really the lifeblood of our quality of life. We all take these for granted. We take for granted that we can turn on the water to brush our teeth, take a shower, flush the toilets, turn on the lights. But I'm really proud of a really resilient, reliable all-around utility system that we have. You'll see the kind of the increase 2 years apart. It's about an 8% increase. So we are experiencing about a 4 to 5% annual growth in the city from new homes, new residents, and so this correlates with those utility that we provide. Not every city our size provides all these utilities. We have great partnerships with Bandera Electric, Pedernales Electric. They surround us. Our electric footprint is really small inside the city, so you can see that there's not been a whole lot of growth and movement there with the electric utility. But with our natural gas, our reclaimed water, our waters in our sewer system, especially with the growth on the east side and southwest side of the city, you're thinking Esperanza, ranches at Creekside, Corley Farms being outside the city limits, but we do provide them some sewer and some natural gas. You can see where that growth is taking place. Again, for a city of our size, 12 square miles, 23,000 people, to have these type of services that we're responsible for, Director Mann and his team, many of which are here with us today, do a phenomenal job of making sure we're providing reliable services when things are out of service. We're quick to jump on them to get them back in service, so I'm excited or pleased with their approach there. I will say water, because we hear about water all the time, and you've heard me say in the city of Boerne footprint, the water utility footprint, we have enough water to provide for our needs, to provide for the managed growth for the next 50 years, no problem. But we also have many projects in place to make sure our water system is resilient and reliable. So here's some of the projects that we have in place in our capital budget that we're planning on doing to expand the water plant and so forth. We also have a new delivery point with GBR8s, and to come in off of Ammon Road. We've been planning this for a decade or so. We knew we needed another delivery point to have a redundant access for our water system, but we just moved it to a different location in conjunction with an opportunity to work with a development. And so we're excited about that. That's currently being constructed. We'll talk about Buc-ee's. I don't know if you've heard. It's in the news.
Is it coming?
Buc-ee's is telling us they're coming. And so there is concerns about water, but I'll tell you this. Because we are managing very deliberately and intentionally our outlook in our utility footprints, we know what to expect, and we've built in commercial activity. We've built in for a hospital to come. We've built in for large commercial pieces like this. But guess what? All of that water that's being flushed, because we have a reclaimed utility system, we're recycling that, and we'll be able to put it right back out in irrigation form to offset our potable demand in other areas. It's a great thing a lot of cities don't have, that Director Mike Mann has helped set that up years ago.
Yeah, we're one of a small handful of communities that actually have reclaimed water. Not only that, it's one of the largest reclaimed water systems that we have. I
will tell you, some municipalities, a few, you're right, have a reclaimed system, but they don't sell it back out to retail to neighborhoods like we do. Again, it helps offset our overall demand. We're being very forward-thinking and managing a very precious resource that's only getting more expensive. And we're learning that every year as we go to conferences, as we hear about other water projects, and those of you that are in the development community and banking community and funding projects, you know how expensive water is becoming. All right, natural gas. Those of you that live in that part of town might have experienced some outages in the last several cold winters that we've had. I will tell you what's occurred. When a lot of these developments came forward, Herf Ranch, Woods of Boerne, Champions Crossings, ranches at Creekside, there was a very kind of base gas meter that was being installed. And then there was the introduction of new appliances that consume a lot more gas for on-demand, think tankless water heaters and so forth. And we were seeing a lot of those developments moving from that base meter to a whole another 2 levels above that. So they're consuming a lot more gas, and we've been experiencing some issues there. But Director Mann and his team have jumped on that the last 2 years, and we've made these type of improvements. And so this next winter, we do not expect to have any outages at all. So thank you, Director Mann and your team, for getting on that. All right, guess what? Director Mann's been with us 25 years, and he let me know earlier this year he's going to retire next year. Director Mann, please stand up.
We're not 100% certain we're going to let Mike go, though.
No, I'm talking to Mike about maybe hanging on and helping me with some special projects for a little bit. Mike's been with us 25 years. He's helped establish a lot of these utilities. He's got a great team over here that works with him, doing phenomenal work. He helped a reconductoring project on our electric utility, knowing that we're not really growing that much anymore. He wanted to make sure it was as reliable and redundant as possible. He did that. He launched our reclaimed water system, which I alluded to earlier. He eats, breathes, and drinks resiliency in our utility systems. If there's a problem, and I'm going to tell you the last couple of years where we've had some issues in some of the neighborhoods on the natural gas, he was calling me in the middle of the night, texting me in the middle of the night, hey, I think this might be the problem, we got to do this. I mean, he cannot sleep if there's utility issues anywhere. And so I really appreciate Director Mann and his attention to a good, resilient utility system.
Speaking of improvements to our community and the service and the expectations that we want from our community, are people like Director Mike Mann. We're stepping up our service to our community through our cemetery with new streamlined software to search for our loved ones available at plots and niches. The headstones are being repaired, right? Leveling and all that's going to start soon, right? We're upgrading. There's 6,200 families entrust the city of Boerne to care for their loved ones that have passed on. And I will tell you, each week or multiple times during the week when I walk into my office, there's a folder from Lori. I know Boerne's growing, but man, I am signing a lot of the cemetery plots. You know, people don't even want to live here. They want to stay here after they've lived here. You know, and so we want to make sure that we have one of the top-notch cemeteries in the whole county. It's the only public-funded cemetery in the county. So another upgrade that we're doing for our community, right, to make sure that this is the best place to live, and which goes into our parks and recreation, right, the accomplishments and the things that we've done this year alone. Nearly 500 acres of park land maintained by our Parks and Rec department. Where's our Parks and Rec department out there? Is there anybody out there from Parks and Rec?
I don't see Director
You don't know?
here.
Isn't here. Christy, you oversee that, right? Yeah, why don't you stand up, Christy? Because that's we have some of the top-notch parks in the community, right? Over 1 million people, right? We want to complain about Boerne being 22,000 plus. 1 million people have visited our parks and green spaces in the last year, right? Athletics, there's 185 total teams serving approximately 1,700 participants each year at Boerne City Park. That's a lot of soccer players, right? I don't know why we don't win state every year. You know, we have to have a talk with Stan about that. Stan, you hear me out there? All right. Northside Community Park, this new Northside Community Park will serve every generation of community and provide new amenities. We have an all-abilities playground. We're adding more pickleball courts. Are there any pickleball players out there? I'm sure there are. If you're over 55, that's your game, okay? You know what I mean? That's all you. I got a couple more years before I hit that mark, right? But we'll see. But we're also adding some other sports fields out there. Cause as Boerne grows, our sports grow. We have lacrosse teams that are vying for field time. We have flag football programs that are vying for foot time. We have girls sports programs also in lacrosse and flag football. We want to make sure that we're providing the top notch, but also the most abilities, an all abilities playground to our communities so everyone can go to these parks and take their kids and their loved ones and enjoy the beauty of what Boerne is. As the holidays come about, I know there's not one slide on here I think we should have added, and that's the hot rod. You know what I mean? I got to say, I mean, as a car guy, that's probably my most wonderful event that we have here in Boerne, you know. But we want to support local business through the different holidays and the things that we do as this community, right? Dickens on Mains is a big one, right? The Weinstein's Parade, right? And Kinderfest. These are all things that the city puts on, right? These are all things that we take on as leaders of your community to say, how can we provide services and entertainment and enjoyment to the people that make Boerne what Boerne is? And so we couldn't do that without our local business support, and we want to make sure that we as a city are supporting local businesses as much as we possibly can.
You know, you bring up a good point with the Hot Rod show, Barktoberfest that we just had.
Yeah.
We have a lot of different great events because of the downtown vibe, the environment just makes it for a nice time to have an event like that. But, you know, folks appreciate a great school district, a great school system. Folks appreciate a great faith community. They appreciate a great small business community. I think we have to do all we can to provide this type of stuff, community events, great parks and open spaces, trails, because that's what people want. They want to be able to enjoy with their friends in the evenings, on the weekends, just out in nature, because we have a great environment, scenic environment here in Boerne. It's something that we really try to protect. Ty, what about the library?
Absolutely. Well, my family loves the library. I feel like it was a quintessential part of like my oldest daughter, like growing up. I remember like going to see Miss Constance when my older daughter Clementine was 2, and Miss Constance doing story time. So this first thing was really cool. On my slide, patrons saved $2.9 million in the last fiscal year. That's a pretty cool fact. Just by getting to go to the library and getting your book or your media, whatever it is, we saved $2.9 million. That's pretty cool. 190,000 visitors served, and that was an 11% increase from the previous year. So kudos to the library. A cool thing they did with Hill Country Family Services, they did this Charlie Cart, which was something I learned from this. It's a mobile kitchen which supports food education, and they're partnering with the BISD on that. It's pretty cool. The cart teaches people about food, and again, working with BISD, which has a great food program. I know my business, we work with some of their kids, which are learning how to cook and things like that. That's really cool. They're also working on an online payment system for patrons this year. They're doing a legal kiosk where you can actually go to one of their kiosks and get legal advice. So if you can't afford a lawyer and you need some legal advice, you can go there for that. Super cool. They have a new circulation desk and study space improvements. And then another thing, which is via the Mellon Grant, which we got 3 years ago or so, is a artist in residence program, and they're basically, it's Boerne's story through art. So they're trying to get applicants to tell history through art, and again, this is all funded through a grant. So again, Boerne's has a great artist community, and this is a way to tell our history through art, funded through a grant we got through the Mellon art community. And again, I feel like the library is such a quintessential part of Boerne. Beautiful building, the landscape behind it, great staff. And the bookmobile is brand new. That's going to be a great asset to the community, getting out there, and for people who can't make it to our beautiful library, still being able to get books out to the community. I'll talk about the fire station in a second, getting the library assets to that part of the community out by Esperanza. Again,
we got a really dynamic library. A lot of communities want a library. Cities that are our size or even greater don't even have a library. We have a library, and we have a phenomenal library. They do an amazing job providing a diversity of services, and it's very popular. All you have to do is look at my office.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
When the middle school, Boerne North, gets out, and you just see the flood of kids going over the library. It's neat.
Not only the North kids, right? Even about 9 o'clock on Tuesdays, St. Helena's, there's a whole trail of kindergartners through 5th graders that are walking over there. My granddaughter is one of them, and she always says, "Pappy, I love Library Day. The library's so cool." So, Natalie, great job with the library.
All right, but we've got to give some love to our police and fire.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We should clap for it. Come on, that's it. Yeah, we got our police chief and our fire chief here, both great people. I've known Steve ever since I've been on city council, and kind of cool to see him rise up. Genuinely a great person. I'm really glad to know him, and Manny's been awesome since he's come on. I've known a few of the fire guys, and it's cool to just see morale at like an all-time high. So a little segue from my slides, but really both great people. Both our departments are in a great spot. So if you don't know them, go introduce yourself. Both great people, and I'm really glad we have them in our spots.
Yeah, their dedication to excellence is amazing.
Yeah. So police had 24,000 calls for service. Imagine that, 24,000 calls. Pretty incredible.
That's basically one per resident.
Yeah.
One per resident. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You're getting your $6 worth of that.
It was our wives. It wasn't us.
Yeah,
right. We're going to have our, in the budget, the first patrol officer in 13 years is going to be hired. Now that we have added mental health officers and, of course, SROs in conjunction with our partners at BISD. But I know Steve's excited to have that. Animal control services, some facts on that: 619 pets rescued and rehomed in fiscal year 25. For the fire, 3,200 calls for service. 6 total grant-funded firefighters. We had 3 that started in May, and the other 3 started in October. I know the firehouse is super excited to have them on board. Definitely in conjunction with our new firehouse coming, they'll have be able to have those shifts covered. Also, the floods that happened in July, we were able to assist our partners with those floods and rescued 9 people. I think we had some coverage of some of our guys in the swift boats in Comfort that got some coverage on TV, and it was cool to just see how quick our guys just immediately went into that mode of like Comfort, Kerrville, wherever we need to be instantly. And I know that's part of their training, but it's just cool to see that.
Not only did they jump in right away, we had a lot of employees that wanted to be called up, and we had to tell them, hey, wait for your turn. Chief Casares, Chief Ball from the fire department were on loan out there. Chief Perez sent several folks. Director Shadrock, our communications director, was on loan several weeks to the city of Kerrville and Kerr County. You can imagine a catastrophe that scale, a city like Kerrville, predominantly the same size from an organization standpoint as Boerne, needing all kinds of resources from across the state, and lots of cities were joining in, and I'm just pleased that we were right there to lend a hand. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to just wrap up here. I want to just tell you, about 10 months ago, we did a citizen survey, a community survey. We do these every other year, because why? We're going to be intentional, we're going to be deliberate, and so I want to know how we're performing. What is the data telling us? And we've been having a lot of conversations this year in almost every other council meeting about what we heard in that community survey. But one of the things that we asked, if you participated, you might remember this question: on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely would you refer a family member or friend to move to Boerne? And about 69% rated that 8, 9, or 10 at the upper third of the spectrum. So that's pretty good. Now, we know we're a very passionate community. Dr. Kraft, you hear about the passion from our community? I'm sure you do. Judge Stelarczyk, do you hear about the passion in our community? We do too, and we love it. Everyone's got strong thoughts and opinions because they love where they live. They appreciate the quality of life. So we know there's always things we could do better on. But let me tell you the other thing that survey asked. Is Boerne somewhat better than other surrounding communities? And 80% said yes. So again, we get to make a decision. And those of you who are realtors know how that happens. I mean, people make choices where they want to live based on the school district, based on the quality of services, public safety, the roadways, all of that, the churches. We want to make sure we're doing our part, and I feel like we're doing a phenomenal job on our part. Let me tell you why I know that to be true. Not only did the survey tell us 80% of the respondents think we're better than the surrounding communities, but the consultant who performed this survey, who's doing this from West Coast to East Coast, last year, about the same time, there was about 24 other communities doing this survey, and out of those 24 communities, when they asked this question, we were the second highest score. Second highest score, with the lowest being 19 and the highest being 93. We're doing a great job, not only us, but our community partners. Really appreciate the partnerships we have with the school district, Dr. Kraft, your cabinet, the school board. Appreciate all that you do. I got kids in the public system and love it. Judge Stelarczyk, really appreciate the partnerships and the working we're doing on collaborative joint mutual projects. All the nonprofits here do a phenomenal job. The communications channels, great job. There's no place like this. I really feel like I'm in Oz, not in Kansas anymore. I tell my wife that every night when I go home. We're not in Kansas anymore. Great community. I also want to just give a shout out to not only you, Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, but the rest of our city council. Councilmember Macaluso, raise your hand. Councilmember Brett Bunker, Councilmember Bateman, and Councilmember Mickelson. Even Councilmember Mickelson and Councilmember Bateman, the new guys on the block. Councilmember Bateman, you've 4 or 5 months. Councilmember Mickelson, 1 month maybe, right? They're hitting the ground running. They're asking hard questions. They're engaged, and I really appreciate them. Appreciate everyone in this room for all you're doing with your businesses, your organizations. It does a lot. It means a lot to us as a city. And I just want to thank you, both Frank and Ty, for your leadership on the council and partnering with the city staff. We have a great conversation almost daily about how do we look at governance versus strategy versus service delivery, and it's pretty special.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I can't say enough about everything that's to the employees. I mean, last month we had the employee appreciation. That's probably one of the best days of the year for me to be out there and thank each one of those individuals that actually take pride and dedication in the work that they do, from the utilities crew to the fire and safety to the library board to everyone that works for the city. I've seen in the last 3 years, more and more of people taking pride in who they are and what they do for this community. And what that says to me is that we're heading in the right direction. This community is special by far, or else we wouldn't be living here. One of the things I love the best about Boerne is over the last several years, we've really strengthened those relationships with our community partners, with the school board, with the county, and the future for Boerne and the surrounding Kendall County looks really bright moving forward. And it's because we're strategic and we're intentional and we listen to the community. I will tell you, I get a ton of emails every week, and I try to respond to almost every one of them unless they're kind of really off the wall. Richard Cena sends me some crazy ones, just kidding, no, he doesn't. But, but to being able to listen to our community and know that there's such a desire to be in this community, but also serve this community. For the first time, just a couple months ago, we were appointing boards and commissions. In my first year as mayor, we didn't have enough applicants to fill those positions, right? But here we are 3 years later, and we had more applicants than we had positions. And that tells me that we're doing things the right way and that our community is responding and wanting to get engaged to the future, what Boerne looks like. So thank you to our community partners, everyone that's here. We couldn't do what we do as a council and as a city without your support. So thank you. Ty?
Good. No, thank you all. That was good. Good way to end.
I'll let you know, we appreciate you coming today. After the lunch, if you have any questions, we got 2 tables of very knowledgeable staff members. Come up and pose your questions, and we'll do our best to answer those. Thank you very much.
Thank you.